Listen, kid, I don't think this is a synthesizer.
Must be Japanese.
You dare threaten her life? I dare anything. I am Skeletor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lack of
He-Man.
nyeh in this movie, but it was still.
Amazing. Yeah.
So in
Yeah.
case you in the audience have not realized this yet, we will be talking about Masters of the Universe, the 1987 version.
Not the new one.
Yes, the great classic movie that was based on the Mattel toy line.
No product placement.
Not true. There was very brief glimpses of product placement at the high school because at the moment when Julie, played by Courtney Cox, is trying to escape from Skeletor's goons, she goes behind the stage in the high school gym, and there are just these boxes upon boxes of Pepsi cans.
What? I did not see that.
I'm like, oh, there's the product placement. It's the 80s
There you
movie.
go. It is right there. I was wondering if the chicken place that Julie worked at the beginning of the movie was some kind of Midwest restaurant or something, but I didn't bother looking into it too much.
That's probably just a repurposed KFC for all we know.
Yep.
Or McDonald's. You never know.
But yes, hello. We are the three real dumb guys. My name is Zach, and who are you guys again?
And I'm Justin.
And I'm Jared. And I have the power.
No, I have the power.
I am Skeletor. Yeah. Amazing.
Yes. We are, as the name suggests, three real dumb guys who we love to have excuses to get together and talk about nerdy things. The prospect of talking about these things is just a good way for us to keep reconnecting and checking in with each other, given that we're just well past our time in high school when it was much easier to just go to one of our houses and hang out. So this is kind of our way to just keep that going. And I hope our discussions about nerdy things, primarily movies, is at least somewhat entertaining for you. And yeah, we are going to be talking about the 1987 film adaptation of Masters of the Universe, the fictional universe that belongs to He-Man.
Yeah.
What a wonderful universe it is.
Indeed. And I'm glad you said that because us getting together and talking about this is because of Jared taking a turn, picking a movie for us to watch and discuss. So why don't you take us through what this movie is and kind of any lore about the universe that we plebeians who don't know as much about this universe would know.
Masters of the Universe, well, He-Man in general was started by an effort by Mattel, the toy company, and I believe this is the correct information. This is just how I read it going down. They wanted to do a toy line for Conan the Barbarian, but they pulled out at the last minute after they realized, oh, Conan the Barbarian is going to be violent. This was the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Ah, yes.
And so they already had things in design. They already had ideas of the barbarian with a sword wearing a loincloth. And eventually that got transformed with other toy ideas into becoming He-Man and his buddies, who were an eccentric looking group, and such as Master of Arms and Tila. And though we don't get to see them in this film, there's Battle Cat and all of these other wacky characters going up against Skeletor and Evil Lyn and their own wacky cast of mercenaries and villains. And overall, it's a very fun... The TV show growing up, which was mostly just an advertisement, was very good. It is very cringeworthy at times, but it was great to grow up with. And over the years, there's been many other adaptations, comic books, and TV shows, and movie revivals. But the 1987 film of Masters of the Universe holds a special place in many people's hearts because even though it bombed when it first came out, it has become a cult classic for many, many people. And it stars Dolph Lundgren and Frank Langella, Courtney Cox, as was mentioned earlier, and a bunch of other actors at the time who are all doing their very best to ham it up and keep it completely serious. And it is a lot of fun, and it is a perfect 80s schlock film.
One of those actors who I completely did not expect to appear in this movie is the one, I don't know his name, but the one guy from Back to the Future who plays the principal. You know, the eat lead slackers guy. I mean, he's more or less playing the same character, just a cop version of himself, but I'm like, oh, he's in this. Cool.
Oh, James Tolkien?
Yes.
The guy from Top Gun.
Yes, he's in Top Gun. He's in Back to the Future. Has Strickland, and I have to say he definitely brings the '80s schlock into this film very well, because he is a detective just trying to do detective stuff amidst a battle between He-Man and Skeletor. And half the time you're wondering what he's even doing here.
Yes, he does speak halfway through. He's like, "What's anybody doing here?" or something like that. And he ends up shooting a bunch of
He shoots a never-ending shotgun at a bunch of Skeletor's robot soldiers.
Basically, his only purpose is either to talk about getting a gun, shooting the gun, or saying, "What the hell is going on?"
Oh man, what a show!
One of his lines was one of the best in the entire movie. That it's in the middle of the final fight, and he's just trying to figure out what's going on. And a robot tries shooting at him, and he just yells, "Nobody takes pot shots at Lubick. All right, you want to play games? Let's play." It's like,
Yeah,
of course, the detective's going to be using third person for himself and immediately start firing at all these robots.
Well, of course, that's what all Korean War veterans do.
Yes, I forgot. He's a Korean War vet.
Dude, when he shows up and the guys go, he's like, "Where's the army? I was in Korea. I know what an army looks like."
Lubick is just another example of what makes this movie just fun to watch, also a little cringeworthy. Also, it's just very much a sign of its times. And every single one of these actors gives their heart and soul into playing the exact part that they are meant to play. It is not sarcastic. It's not a comedy movie. There's a few jokes here and there, but it is treated like a very serious science fiction fantasy movie where He-Man is battling against Skeletor.
Ugh, that mask. It's gonna stick in my head forever.
The Skeletor mask is a special work of art.
Horrific.
I like the fact that it pretty much isn't even a mask, with how it's portrayed on Frank Langella's face. I was telling you guys this before we started recording, but the makeup work that was done on him reminds me a lot of the really great makeup work that they do for Walton Goggins in the Fallout show as the ghoul. It pretty much has that same kind of vibe where they have the sunken nose, or rather just lack of a nose, and just kind of that sunken face look, rather than you look at Skeletor in the original cartoon and he literally is just like a skull face in a hooded sort of figure.
Yes.
And so that interpretation I thought was interesting, giving him a little bit more of a tangible human sort of look to him, even though he's obviously very like capital V, hamming it up sort of cartoon villain in a way. I do like that more tactile appearance to him.
I can only wonder how much of that was intentional, like that was the design. They're trying to go for a more serious look, a kind of realistic look for everything, and how much of it was because of budget reasons, because this film was very low budget.
Oh man.
And even at the time, they went over budget and had to cut a ton of stuff that was planned. The final fight scene between He-Man and Skeletor had to be reshot or something because they went back. And it turns out the entire Castle Grayskull set had been torn down while they were doing reshoots.
What?
And so that's why the final shot of Skeletor dying is not him being pushed through the window like was planned. It's him falling into a pit because there was no window anymore. There were no walls.
It makes perfect sense that you talk about the set being torn down and that affecting how the scene looked, though, because I knew immediately after the two of them started clanging swords against each other, it's like, the lighting dramatically changed here. Are they hiding something? And lo and behold, I guess they actually were.
Like silhouette shots over black and red screens. Like, oh wow, that's a really cool artistic choice.
Like they're filming some kind of cheesy music video.
It's because they didn't have a Castle Grayskull anymore to shoot. But
that's so funny.
Amazing.
That tracks, though.
There's a lot of signs that this is just like, oh yeah, this is very low budget. The only shots in Eternia are a couple of shots at the beginning and throughout the movie in Castle Grayskull, and then a couple of just blank desert shots that could have been taken anywhere in the American Southwest.
Yes.
And then the entire rest of the movie's on Earth.
In like some kind of Los Angeles suburban neighborhood, basically.
And it's
I
not
think
even
that's
like a
the
particularly fancy part of Earth, like the junkyard and a high school shot and 2 houses and 1 radio store, and that's pretty much it.
I gotta say, like, I hope I'm not gonna come across as like a chump in saying any of my criticisms of the movie, because I do think that this movie has a lot going for it in terms of just being enjoyable 80s cheese. But the fact that the movie does have such a low budget that they cut so many corners in what they could potentially do, I think limits the movie's magic for me. Because as corny as those first 15 minutes were, I'm like, oh, they actually have stuff going on here, like on Grayskull and Eternia and all this stuff. And I was mildly invested just in looking at all the set design and the practical effects and all those things. Then they get to Earth, and I'm like, oh no, they couldn't afford to do anything cool, could they?
I completely agree, actually, because
I believe that.
like Eternia in the cartoons is this big, grand fantasy. It has every single thing and the kitchen sink thrown in. It is so cool, and you can see that there's a lot of love and design put into just the original house for Gwildor and Castle Grayskull itself. Castle Grayskull is a huge set.
I believe
It is very nice looking. It's got the aesthetics of a big fantasy castle. It looks very cool for the time period. And then we completely leave that all behind for suburbia.
And the Rodney's or whatever it's called.
Yeah, the rib place. Yeah, I don't know. It was just disappointing in that sense. Like, I wanted to stay in that universe, but I know they had to do what they had to do. You know, the Canon Group is a very infamous production company among people who are like aware of film history and all those things, because even though I haven't really seen any of their films aside from this one, I'm aware of the fact that a lot of their productions in the 80s suffered from the same issue of their very low budgets being very obvious on screen and how they had to cut corners on a lot of things.
Yes.
It's just a shame, because I think there was potential to do more here, but it's so obvious that they were held back. And I think it's reflected in how they had to have the writing try to mesh in suburbia, but it clashed too much for me.
I can definitely see where you're coming from, and I do agree. I mean, I have seen several Canon films. I've seen American Ninja and others like that, but it was the B movie studio. I think there was a point in time when they would make movies and they would require a budget of like $300,000 for the movie or less. Like, that was the whole budget that a movie would get for them. And so He-Man getting $20 million for it is amazing by canon standards, but yeah, you can definitely feel that this is a very low budget film that happens to have some actors putting their hearts on the line for it, but it is not something that you can go in and expect amazing production for.
True.
I mean, I was even talking with one of my friends about the final act of this movie when they do go back to Eternia for a little bit for the final battle. And it's pretty much the end of Star Wars Episode 6 of Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
With the Emperor's throne room. And just the placement of the shots, the scenes that are happening, the actions that are being taken, the dialogue being made. Like, you could picture it almost exactly being Luke versus the Emperor as opposed to He-Man versus Skeletor. And even in the final shot, Skeletor gets thrown down a pit just like the Emperor does.
That was another thought that I had throughout this whole movie. Even from the very beginning was all of the Star Wars influences. I don't know how much Star Wars affected like the original cartoon or toy line or whatever, but watching this movie, it was very evident that they were pulling influences from it. I mean, not only that though, but the opening credits are very clearly aping Superman the movie, like with all of the titles literally flying at the screen with like the after image behind them, the swelling music. I mean, the music's good, don't get me wrong, but it is very
I definitely was wondering if like someone had taken John Williams' B-roll and applied it and like made their own thing based off of that for this movie, because there was a lot of influence on Star Wars and other John Williams tracks in this film.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. It's not like the composer is a bad one. I mean, Bill Conti, he's done the music for the Rocky franchise, and
in the
Obviously,
Rockies.
those are very iconic movies. Dolph Lundgren being in one of them.
It's all connected.
It's like poetry, it rhymes.
Another Star Wars reference. There you go.
No.
You can't let it go. But yeah, all of those black helmeted troops that worked for Skeletor reminded me a lot of stormtroopers. Well, I take that back. Yes, stormtroopers, but it also reminded me of they reminded me more of the helmet troopers from Spaceballs, which came out the same year.
Yep, I can definitely see it. I mean, there's another shot when He-Man is battling against the flying Centurions on their hoverboards,
Uh-huh.
and I was just thinking to myself, this is just a very low budget version of the Endor speeder fight.
True.
They even have a shot where he loses his gun because he gets shot, and so he has to bring out his sword and slash the other speeder guy out of the
Yes.
air. At which point he explodes.
Did you notice that when he would hit stuff with his sword, it sounded like a lightsaber in some points?
Well, especially in that final fight, yes.
And I was like, what the? Hey.
I even heard a little bit of the land speeder sound effects with the old roadster that oh gosh, what's his name? The little
Wildor.
Gildor, yeah. You know, when he reverse engineered the car to have like a different combustion engine and he got it to work that way. I heard a little bit of the land speeder in that one.
I didn't even use hydrocarbons.
Do you want to know the tagline for this movie?
What?
From a distant galaxy, they have come to Earth.
Stop. That's not it.
That's the tagline.
Are you serious?
Yep.
They're not even hiding it.
It's great.
What's worse is, for me, some of the effects in this movie, even though they had the guy from Star Wars doing it, looked worse. Looked worse than, like, New Hope did. And I went, what the is this?
This movie definitely did not have Industrial Lights and Magic working for them. But did Star Wars have a Japanese synthesizer?
Sure didn't.
No, it did not.
I obviously am a bigger fan of this film than a lot of people are. And while I say that, I am not going to ignore the flaws of this film. This film is a very flawed movie. Both because of the budget and because just the writing and acting is super hammy. But I can't help but think that like Dolph Lundgren doing their best, and it is fun. I mean, there's a couple of shots. One of the mercenaries that works for Skeletor is just a guy named Blade, and he's just got all this armor covered in spikes, and he uses a sword, and that's about it. He also uses his electric whip at the end, but half the time he is grinning like an idiot the entire time.
Real.
Because he's just there to have a good time. I don't know if he even had a speaking line in the entire film, but he was just having a ball. But you've got actors like Frank Langella, who he doesn't care for He-Man, but his son loved it, so that's why he took the role of Skeletor. You've got Meg Foster, who is doing a very good job playing Evil Lynn. And despite how completely cheesy and corny the source material is, I mean, they're all putting their heart into it.
True.
I mean, I could watch Dolph Lundgren being He-Man any day of the week.
I have the power.
I mean, he doesn't have the gravitas of, like, the guy who voiced him in the cartoon, but...
And they didn't have the reverb that the cartoon had. But again, could have been maybe they couldn't afford a reverb.
And then you've got frickin' Obsession coming out last month that was made for $750,000 and yet made almost $300 million. Ray Barker was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps!
I'm sorry. I'm not them.
I guess he's not the crew that made the Backrooms either. $10 million.
Thank goodness money isn't the only thing that matters.
Yeah, I mean, this movie is fun. Like, it is, as you said, Jared, incredibly flawed and stupid. But no matter what score I give it at the end, it would be like a score but a heart attached to it. Be like, yeah, I could just kick back and enjoy this. It's ridiculous, but I wouldn't watch it like in jest. You know, I'd be like, okay, this is a goofy time.
And like you said earlier, I wish I could see what this movie would have looked like with a big budget. Like with a Star Wars budget, what would this film look like?
It would have been really cool looking.
Well, you say that, Jared. And I remember your main motivation for wanting to talk about this was because of the fact that the new adaptation, directed by Travis Knight, came out. Do you feel like sharing some of your thoughts about that, since we kind of did get maybe not the definitive version, but at least a version with, a full budget, would you say?
It shows that there is a budget there. You've got lots of these big, I want to say mostly CGI, but there's some decent practical effects in the new film as well. But you've got a much better view of what Eternia looks like. You've got varied places. And while there is a good amount of scenes on Earth, we do go back to Eternia and we see lots of these fantastical places. And you see lots of characters that never could have fit into the more serious 1987 film as well. You've got lots of the original toy and cartoon characters like Mechanic and Ram Man, and even like more obscure characters like Moss Man showing up, and all of that looks great. It's honestly one of the highlights of the new film is when it treats its source material as something that is good. It's like, all right, we're just gonna accept that someone like Ram Man is a part of this universe and it is happening, and you get to see all of these ugly 80s outfits like Prince Adam's nasty looking pink
dude
vests and everything. And when it does that, you're like, okay, yep, that's the He-Man I know and love. That's one of the things that I quite enjoyed about the film. I was not a fan overall of the film, but I quite enjoyed seeing what Eternia would look like with a budget. What these actors would look like if they had costumes and everything that you can afford to put some money into.
So you'd say then the movie, like, on the outside was paying tribute more than at its core what it was trying to do?
I would say so, but for the listeners, I'm the only one of the three that has gone and seen the new He-Man. Is that correct? Zach, have you seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet, so yeah, you're correct.
I had a negative experience in watching it because there was kind of a hint of, in contrast to this 1987 film, there's definitely a hint of shame, I felt. That whenever something cool would happen, oh, we have to pull it back. We have to remind you, as the viewers, that these are fictional characters. They're fake. They're kind of pathetic a little bit. And, like, one of the most iconic scenes involves Prince Adam finally getting, like, all of this power and accepting He-Man's power and doing the I have the power. And then he immediately sheathes the sword and tries to have a therapist chat with Skeletor.
What?
And this is after he's tried to talk to the villains multiple times, because in the real world, Prince Adam was the therapist in this film. And so he tries to do all this new age therapist. And so at this amazing moment when he's got all of the power and the movie is kicking off, oh wait, no, we can't let these genuine emotions happen. Or when Idris Elba is as Master of Arms, who is a very far cry from John Cypher's
guy.
But yeah, Idris Elba definitely is an interesting choice. Like, he's having all of this like serious discussion about the things that he's done, the losses that he's had against Skeletor, and the sacrifices that he's made, and how it's changed him as a person for the worse. And then it's like, oh wait, but we got to have a joke now. Like, you're not allowed to have a serious emotional moment. You're not allowed to treat these characters that from this show and from the source material that we love so much as anything more than a joke. Like, even Dolph Lundgren shows up for a cameo, and he gives about a 30-second bit of advice that sounds really stupid, and then he leaves. And it's like, okay, cool.
Thanks. Gonna have my paycheck now.
Give me my steroids.
Or as Justin was talking to me before we started recording, he needed more money for all the oil that he was using to lather himself up with.
Give me my oil. Give me my baby oil.
Give me my chemical engineering degree. It's just interesting to me that that's your reaction, Jared, because the only other people that I know who have seen it and reacted to it were my two brothers-in-law as well as my father-in-law. My brothers-in-law went and saw it first, and they loved it so much that they actually cried in the theater. Like, I kid you not, that's what they told me.
What?
And then that very same day, they told my father-in-law about it. And then I think when at the next opportunity, all three of them were free, they went and saw it. And my father-in-law, who I believe watched the show when he was younger, had a similar reaction to it. So I don't know, like, not to negate your experience. It's just, It's just interesting to me. I'd be curious to see like kind of
There's
where that
so
emotion
many
came from.
references that if you are a fan of the original show, and that's something that, again, 1987 He-Man versus the new He-Man, you're not going to get a whole lot of similarities there. We don't get a lot of the characters from the original TV show in this movie. And it's almost implied that they're all dead. Like, it's a really dark film. It's really serious. And that's not the case in the new film. You have all of these characters and all of these references. There's a shot where they do the bit from the original show where they would all have their hands on their hips and lean back and laugh after someone tells a bad joke. Like every single one of them, that awkward forced laughter, the ha 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 ha, putting their hands on their hips. That would be at the end of every single episode. There's so many shots of that are like, oh, in a movie where this was treated seriously, I would love this. This is fan service to its extreme. And so if you're willing to look past the idea that the movie kind of treats everything like a joke, then I can absolutely see why people would love it and why they would break down crying. Because this is the first big He-Man we've had in
years.
Many years. I mean, you can count the Netflix TV show, but that was kind of such a disaster.
There's a Netflix TV show?
Yes, it was by Kevin Smith, and they killed He-Man off in the first couple episodes.
Oh, that's nice.
It was not well received. So this is really like the first big He-Man that we've gotten since, I don't know, maybe even the 1987 Masters of the Universe.
Well, I'll watch it at some point and give it my own opinion, but yeah, like it is interesting to think about how much nostalgia plays into that, because watching this movie, I was just thinking the whole time, like, can I get a little bit of context on what's going on here?
And the funniest part is there is no context. Like this movie is just like a completely serious reimagining of the TV show, or like after the TV show. It's like if we had a Star Wars movie that was happening years after the episodes 4, 5, and 6, and it was very serious, and most of the characters were dead. Can you imagine that?
No, I can't actually. That'd be horrible.
I would not like that.
Yeah, maybe that's too dark of a future. Maybe we should pull it back a bit.
Who do you feel like the biggest winners and losers of this movie are?
Hey, I knew this was coming.
It's a tradition at this point.
Zach, go first.
Okay, well, in terms of the biggest winner, gosh, I mean, maybe Dolph Lundgren. I mean, just the fact that he has like this action figure character that he played, and he could probably still look fondly on it and be like, yeah, I was that guy. Go to conventions and sign He-Man action figures if he really wants to. I don't know. I don't really have much of a better answer than that.
What'd you pick as your loser?
Oh, easily the Canon Group. I mean, it's just a shame that, like, you know, this movie studio that seemed like they wanted to make genuine, fun movies, just it kind of seemed like at every turn that they did try to do that, they absolutely fell on their face, financially and critically. So, just chalk this as another one of those examples.
How about you, Justin? Who are your winners and losers?
I would echo Dolph Lundgren as probably wins, because he went on, after Rocky, he did this movie, and then that kind of solidified him as 80s action hero guy, along with Stallone and them. And he went on to make, like, he was the Punisher at one point, and then he had a slew from, like, 1989 to 2004 or something, where he was just, like, making movies left and right of, like, my name is Dolph Lundgren, I am action star. And he would just, like, he was tearing apart the world, and then he was in the Expendables. He, like, goes from, like, 2009, he takes a break, and then it's hit and miss up until, like, later this year, but probably wins the most out of this, just because it doesn't kill his career, it makes him more popular, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
And I would also argue that the biggest loser is probably the guy that acted opposite Courtney Clark. Like, what has he been in? He's been in Star Trek and some other TV shows, but nothing where he's been, like, amazing, if that makes sense. I would also echo the Canon Studios thing, where they just swung and missed really bad, and that makes me laugh.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that kind of sucks about his character is that he's just kind of a wet blanket. There's not much to him.
Except for when he's in that final battle, and he somehow gets a laser pistol, and he shoots one of the stormtroopers. He's like, yeah! And he doesn't do anything after that. Yes.
At least he's a good boyfriend.
He's
What do
very
you think?
supportive of Julie the entire time.
Who's an idiot, by the way.
Yes.
I
How
mean,
did you guess?
it's an '80s film. No one's going to be intelligent.
True.
And for my answers, Zach already stole them. I was going to say Dolph Lundgren and the Cannon Group as well, just
Sorry.
because. I mean, because it's the most obvious answers. Dolph is known for like these two roles more than anything else he's done. He's done plenty of movies, but he is known for being Ivan Drago, and he's known for being He-Man.
Yep.
He has been the Punisher. He has been in a lot of other films, but those are the two that he is known for, and he will be forever iconic because of them. And Canna Group, they just completely lost a ton of money on this. But I guess if I have to provide an original answer, I guess my winner is going to be Detective Lubick, because he got to go to Eternia, get a hot wife, kill some bad guys, and completely leave the Pinkos behind.
Yeah, that was hilarious to me. The fact that he just out of nowhere gets this smoking hot wife, and then he's like, "Yeah, I got an early retirement. This is pretty good, man."
I'm not going back.
Yeah, no kidding.
So yeah,
Oh, man.
Detective Lubick definitely won.
Also, that actor had a generational run in the 80s of like being some of the authority figures in the 80s. Like he was in Top Gun. He was the principal in Back to the Future.
Hey, lads, slackers.
Anything else you guys want to bring up from this iconic but kind of terrible film?
I think we mostly
Great.
covered it. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Nothing really comes to mind for me.
Same. I had fun with it though.
All right, we're gonna give it our ratings.
Yeah, you want to go first?
Sure. I give it a 7.5 out of 10 because I am very fond of this film. I acknowledge it is low budget. It is terrible in some respects. It is hammy and cheesy and kind of ignores a lot of the fun that was in the animated show. But at the same time, it's fun. I had a good time. I can put it on in the background and I can remember some of these Skeletor quotes from Frank Langella years later.
Yeah. Sorry.
He doesn't do the yeah, but it is still a good time. Like watching it now, I was just like, "Yep, this is low budget Return of the Jedi," but he just slashed the guy and he exploded. This is awesome. And so yeah, I would give it a 7.5. Cult classic for a reason. I am a fan.
I'd probably go with a 7 out of 10 too. It is a goofy, in my opinion, because I had no context to this movie. Pretty goofy at some points. But there were some other parts where I was like, all right, I'm in. I could watch this movie. And then other points like where I felt like if I was watching it with you guys, I would just be making jokes the whole time. So it kind of just depends. I guess it depends on where you're sitting. But I did have fun watching it. It's fun.
Don't take my number score as gospel. I would, on principle, I usually give like numerical scores as a combination of what I think of it on its own terms, as well as like a combination of my own reaction. I would give it like a 4 out of 10 just because of how poorly executed it is. But like I said, no matter what number score I was going to give it, I was going to say like, hey, I'll give it a score with a heart attached to it. And yeah, that's genuinely what I do because, I mean, you said it, Justin. If the three of us were just shooting the crap together and we decided to put on this movie to have an excuse to continue doing that, like, I wouldn't mind at all.
This would be a great sit with your buddies and just talk crap about this film the entire time kind of movie.
Too bad we don't drink.
Too bad
True.
indeed. Good time. If you in the audience get the chance, go watch 1987's Master of the Universe. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll think it's a terrible film, and you'll have a good time.
You'll say, yeah.
And you may have all the power. I will say that it was nice being able to watch this completely free without ads on Canopy. I'll keep on being their
Yes.
champion as long as I can be, because that service is great.
Canopy. We like Canopy.
Yes. Go support your local library, friends.
All right, so tune in next time when we talk about whatever Zach chooses.
Yeah,
Actually,
Zach,
it's
give us a preview.
Oh, it's Justin's turn. Yeah, he picked
this
his
is my
Justin's turn. Yeah.
Oh, I'll pick one. I have to think. I've been thinking about wanting to do like I've never watched Lethal Weapon.
Oh, heck yeah.
Or I'd want to do. There's an old cowboy movie that's really famous in my family called Silverado. Silverado's
Okay.
great.
Yeah, Danny Glover's in that one, isn't he?
Danny Glover's in both of those movies.
That's true. Yes.
Is this just the Danny Glover Power Hour?
Yes.
I mean, why not? The dude's awesome.
So it'll be one of those. I have to figure out what I want to watch, but yeah, it'll be one of those.
Whatever you don't pick, we could always save for another time, I suppose.
I'll,
Fair.
Alright.
Yeah, they'll be fun. One of those ones.
I will say that I have seen Lethal Weapon, but I've not seen Silverado.
Silverado's a great movie.
Well, thanks for tuning in, audience.
Yay!
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
Be sure to come in next time to keep listening to the three real dumb guys.
Yes. Subs- subscribe on YouTube if that's where you're getting your fix of our show from, or follow us on Spotify if that's where you're listening. Either way, we appreciate the support, and I hope you all have a great day.
Good
Bye.
travels.
Good journey. Good
Good journey. That's it. Dang it. It's been too long.
You're a fake fan, Jared.
I am
Fake
so
fan.
fake right now. I never actually watched this movie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.